All right, we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the illumINNATE Barcelona podcast, where we are connecting you to local leaders in our beautiful city of Barcelona. I'm Kelli, your host, and I'm really excited for the episode today because my specialization in chiropractic is preconception, prenatal, and pediatrics. And I say that just so you understand how truly excited I am to have our guest today. Please welcome Vicky González. Vicky, it's so nice to have you here on the show today.
Hi, hello. Yes, the same thing for me.
Thank you. So Vicky is a doula here in Barcelona, and she's been doing this for about for about 10 years. She's served over 600 couples during pregnancy and postpartum, and she's taken part in almost 100 births. That's incredible, Vicky. She's also considers herself, or I would probably consider her, an expat doula, which is really awesome for us because, as most of you listeners know, the illumINNATE Barcelona podcast is really geared toward expats and people who have moved to our city from all over the world. So Vicky has such an amazing niche as an expat doula. She speaks fluent English, fluent French, and Spanish, and Catalan, of course, because you're from Barcelona, right?
Yes, I'm from here. I was born here in Barcelona and I've lived here most of the part of my life. So yes, from here.
That's amazing. I think you're the first person on the show that's actually from Barcelona. So that's amazing. That's amazing. So for some of our listeners that don't know about your line of work, can you tell us what is a doula?
Okay, a doula is a person, basically is a woman who has experience about everything related to maternity. So a doula must follow a course, 1-year course, but is a person basically with this experience with children, because usually she is already a mom, but not always. Not all the doulas are moms. And our objective is caring of the mom and her family during the whole pregnancy, the birth if she wants to, and after the birth. So we are not sanitary personnel, means that we cannot attend a home birth or something like that. We always need to go to the hospital, or we need to be with sanitary personnel, and we cannot do sanitary functions. So our support basically is focused on the well-being of the mom, giving a lot of information, taking care of her, being sure that she understands the whole process, and taking care of her basically.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. So,
Yeah, it is.
So this is a role outside of your typical OBGYNs or midwives and I think it's so important to clarify, you're not a medical professional.
No.
And that's so important to understand, I think, because we have people that can take care of all of the emergency situations and the actual physical things that are happening that you would want a doctor or a midwife there for. But what about the emotional support and all through pregnancy and the day-to-day and the psychological part of being a mom? And that is where a doula comes in. And I think that's just incredible. And not a lot of people, at least in the States where I'm from, not a lot of people know about doulas. I didn't even know what they were until I got into chiropractic. And it was just something that was like, oh, light bulb. That is so incredibly helpful and important and really crucial for a mom going through pregnancy, because I think the initial reaction to, oh, I'm pregnant is, what do I do? And you're not going to call your OBGYN or your medical doctor and ask them all of these questions. But that is where you come in, correct?
That's it. That's it. Basically, I feel more like a coach, like listening to the mom's needs and trying to help her to find her own way and her own path, because there are lots of ways of doing things, and my role is not telling anyone what to do related to anything, but to give information so this person and her partner can decide what to do and what's best for them. And having the information, they can take these decisions. If we don't know the system, if we don't know our possibilities, it's harder to take those decisions. And furthermore, after the birth, basically, we've been during the whole pregnancy visiting a doctor every month, and at the end nearly every week, and suddenly you've got a baby, you are super lost and you're not seeing anyone. You're not, you're
It's like,
by
oh,
your
it's
own,
out,
and
it's
you've
done,
got,
good luck.
you've got, yeah, that's it, you've got your baby, and you say, yeah, you've got a new appointment in 1 month, but what happens during all this month? And there are many issues, and you need some support. You need basically someone who is next to you, guiding you and helping you to do the things that as you want to do, but letting you flow with the whole process. I really think that it's important to be supported. This,
Yes.
in Spanish, it's called the tribu. I don't know, in the tribal thing. In it's true that there are countries, or even here in Spain, where the family, friends, neighbors, they were so close together that this function of the doula was completely unnecessary, because you were surrounded of other women who had experience, who could give you that support. But nowadays, our life, we live pretty isolated. We've got a lot of friends, but their friends, your friends, they have their job, they, you know, they can give you little tips, but it's hard to feel surrounded, no? So my role is to take care in all everything. I mean, I can prepare breakfast for her, I can tidy her house, I can help her with breastfeeding, I can help her with any doubts she may have, listen to her if she needs to cry or she needs to express her feelings, everything.
That's beautiful. I think there's probably some women listening in that aren't even pregnant that are like, I want a doula. I want someone in my house that's preparing my breakfast and helping me, and that's just going to listen. And I think that really speaks about the importance of this, because if you're just a mom or a woman who thinks, wow, that sounds amazing to have someone just be there and supporting you during a regular day-to-day life, imagine how much more important and how crucial that is to have that person there through a pregnancy while you're growing another human being inside of you.
Yes.
And I love how you were saying earlier that you're there to help inform and not to sway mom or to convince her of anything. I think moms typically feel like maybe a medical professional has that role. They're feeling like they're being swayed certain ways, or doing things maybe as the hospital mandates or expects them to. I love that you're there to guide mom so that she can flow, and her partner can make their own decisions on what they want to do. Oh, we just lost our video. And we're back.
Yes.
So I was saying, it's so important that moms know there are options, that there's many options for giving birth. Vicky, would you mind telling us just a few different options that moms have for giving birth? Because I think the conception is, I can only give birth in a hospital in this position because that's how I've always seen it done, and I've never heard of anything else. I guess at least in Spain, what options do moms have as far as giving birth?
Well, here I can talk about Barcelona, or basically Catalonia. And here, basically, as options, you've got from one extreme to the other. So you would have the planified C-section, which is super common in South America, for example. And here they are trying to avoid that, but there are still ladies who decide this. So to get that, you can only do it through a private system, because in the public they will never practice a section if it's not really needed. Then you've got vaginal birth in a very medicalized way. So that would mean that you get anesthesia as soon as possible, and then you are guided to go through the birth until to give birth to your baby. And usually these births are very medicalized in terms that they need more support of the medical stuff to get the baby out, or some instrumental, probably will need an episiotomy, which is the little cut, things like that. Then you've got a natural birth in a hospital, which means that the hospital has all the facilities to let you flow with your birth and giving you tools to let you cope with the whole process. These tools could be a tub, a bathtub. They can offer you the possibility of using a shower, or using a big ball of Pilates, or being able to change the position and to be able to give birth in the position you feel more comfortable. Could be on your fours, on your side, sitting on a birthing chair, using the rope, different options. The advantages of this is that you are in a hospital, so you've got all the security that if anything happens, you can be attended very fast, and has all the advantages of having a natural birth. Then we've got in Spanish it's called casas de nacimiento. It's like birth houses.
A
In
birth
Catalonia,
center would be
yeah,
the
like
equivalent.
birth center. So in Catalonia now there's one in Manresa, which is called Mitjorn, and then there's in the hospital of Granollers there's another one. And the idea is to imitate the home environment, but having medicalized options to let you give birth in a safe way. Now they are trying, or at least before the coronavirus started, they were trying to expand this sort of birth centers in hospitals. So the next one was expected to be in Can Ruti in Badalona. So everything's prepared, but they just need the approval to start opening and doing it. The idea is having a huge room with a double bed, and then a bathtub, and all the conditions, and then the midwife stays with you all the long, independently how long the birth takes. This the option that they are trying to get more, trying to promote more.
Right.
And then there's the home birth, which you should hire a home midwife, and the home midwife will stay with you all the long. Usually home midwives, they work in couples, so they are offering you this support. There's always one midwife taking care of you, and the other midwife who is taking more care of the baby and the birth. So they really work together, and they are offering super amazing job. The truth is that since coronavirus started, there's been a huge demand for home births. So all the home midwives I know, they are super full, and they've got the agenda like they cannot send anything else, because they're having a lot of work.
That's so interesting. That's something I think about probably daily since we've been in quarantine now for 7.5 weeks, I think it is now here in Barcelona. When I wake up, I just think, everyone is in the world really is in this big pause in our lives. Everything has stopped for the most part, but pregnancies have not stopped. Pregnancies have not paused. Births have not paused. These things are still happening. And that's something that is just so incredible and beautiful to me and motivating. So I've been spending a lot of time during this quarantine doing more perinatal coursework and things like that, because pregnancy doesn't stop. It
That's
keeps
it.
going. It keeps going, and birth doesn't stop for anyone. And so let that be an encouragement to you pregnant moms who are listening. Your baby's going to come out. Don't worry. In the history of time, no baby has ever stayed inside of a mommy's belly. So that process is still going to continue. So
That's it.
I want to talk to you a little bit more about the new part of your education that you've really been delving into, and that's psychology. And you're
Yes.
going to be graduating here in June. Is that correct?
I hope so. Yes. I finished my studies, and I only need to write my thesis of the grade. So I'm doing it right now. A lot of work, but hopefully in
Congratulations.
June
Congratulations. That's exciting.
I will have the degree. Yes, I'm very, very, very excited about that. I'm very happy. That's my dream, becoming a perinatal psychologist. So being able to
Wow.
help all those women that I'm helping as a doula, but having a background in psychology. So being able to go deeper and helping them like wider also if they need it.
I love that. So can you tell us a little bit about why psychology is important in the perinatal woman, in the perinatal period of life?
Well, what happens is that becoming a mom, it's a vital crisis. It's something that changes your lives. Maybe when you're pregnant, you're not expecting that big change. You read about it, but you don't really believe it until it happens. And when it happens, it's a big shock in all sort of terms. It can be amazingly positive, but there are moments which are amazingly hard, and there are moments
Yeah.
which we feel amazingly lost. So it's true that we need to cope with this new situation, and often we may need some support, some support to deal with all those emotions, to deal with all these new changes, to deal with the new person that you are born. Because in a birth, there's a baby who is born, but there's a
Yeah.
mom and a dad, or two moms or two dads who are born.
Yeah.
So that's something that we need to think about it. And often this vital crisis can flow, but often we can need some extra help to flow with it. So it really depends
Absolutely.
on the person and the moment and many other factors we don't know.
So because this is your background, I want to kind of dig into the psychology a little bit deeper, because we know how important our emotions are and how important our stress levels are, not only in regular life for men and women, but especially while we're pregnant. And we know how much that can affect our pregnancy, right? And how much stress we have, and what we're feeling about our pregnancy, or feeling about our partner even, or feeling about the baby. Can you touch on or talk a little bit about how stress levels, or how our emotions can affect a pregnancy?
Well, it's important to leave pregnancy flowing with it and not stressing as much. But also there's this part of people who are thinking that, oh my God, if I get stressed, I will be damaging my baby, because my baby will
Yeah.
feel that stress, and that creates more stress.
Right.
So I don't really think that that's, I mean, it's important, of course, but we need to just flow with it and accept what you're feeling and recognize what you're feeling, and just see it in face and go ahead and cope with it. Because when we try to deny it, like, oh, I cannot feel that, because if I feel this, then it means that my baby or whatever, it's going to happen. Then the problem is that we don't accept your natural feelings, and that's the worst you can do, because they are there. So the idea
Yeah.
is not feeling guilty. I mean, guilt is something that it's also very related to this female condition. I don't know why, but I think it's very important not feeling guilty. at any point, because everything it's fair as it is, and your baby is accepting you as his or her mom, perfect as you are, with all your defaults and also your all the advantages you've got, and that's it. That's how it is. So we don't have to feel guilty about anything.
I love that. That's beautiful. And that's important for everyone, for all women, to remember we don't need to feel guilty about anything, not when we're pregnant, not when we have babies, not when
That's it.
we're a dad. It's we are who we are, and our children, our babies, and our families, our friends, they accept us for who we are. And we sometimes need that gentle reminder that we need to accept ourselves too.
That's it. And we need to live the life as it is. I mean, sometimes we've got situations that we were not expecting. And if you feel bad because you I don't know, you lost someone. Now these days many people are losing family, friends, and you're going through these sad moments, and you're feeling, oh, I cannot go through these sad moments because my baby will feel it. It's not fair, because you have to go through it.
And I
basically
think
that's it.
Yeah, I think the period of pregnancy that moms feel that the most, and I'm sure you find this too, is third trimester. When we're getting closer now, birth, baby, labor, this idea that was maybe something kind of detached in the future, it's going to happen one day, seems so far away, is really becoming real in that third trimester. And I have a lot of expecting mamas that we take care of at our chiropractic studio. And also my sister-in-law is pregnant right now in her third trimester.
Yeah, congratulations.
So we're really excited about that. But can you give us some things maybe that moms in third trimester, and especially now that we're all on lockdown all over the world, what are some things that moms can do to prepare for labor or prepare for birth, maybe that are just at home and they don't have access to that support?
So I think that activity is very important. So now next weekend, we are all waiting for that moment that everyone will be able to get out at least 1 hour per day. I would really suggest them to use that hour going for a walk. Doesn't need to practice a lot of sport, but we need this activity, this movement. It's very important. It is very important to be in the sun. It's very important to receive vitamin D, to be more positive, to feel that's very important too. So try to get out of the house when it's possible, at least once per day. That would be something that I would really suggest. Then I think that it's very important to be prepared. I mean, when you know what's going to happen, or more or less what may happen during the birth and how to cope with it, then you're not frightened anymore. You feel secure. You feel calm about this point. So attending an antenatal course online. I'm running them also online, and we are meeting together and we are sharing experiences among the different moms, and they are asking different questions, and we go through it and understanding how the process is going to be. I really believe it's going to be very helpful to give them tips about what's going to happen that big day. Absolutely. And basically, the last thing is that we cannot control everything. That's very important. And it's important to accept that you know when your birth is going to start, because contractions or breaking the back of horse or other symptoms will be clear that something is happening already, but no one knows how the birth is going to end. Right. So maybe you've had planified to have a super the birth, it's going through it, it's a transition. But what is really important is once you've got your baby, then it's when your new life starts. So trying to enjoy this transition the best way, being prepared, being informed, feeling good, feeling healthy in terms of being fit for the last weeks and being moved and not staying the whole day sitting on the sofa. I think that that's important. And afterwards, just flowing with the whole process and let it happen as it must happen.
I love how you talked about having a plan and knowing what to expect, because I think, at least for our US moms, we love having a plan. We love having everything mapped out. I will do this, I will do this and that, and I definitely won't do this, and I definitely won't do that.
I see that every day.
And I think it's so important to have a birth plan. You need to know what you envision, what your ideal birth is, but also flowing, as you've really been alluding to this whole time, being okay, not gripping so tightly to that piece of paper because really, we don't know what's going to happen. Baby is going to come however he or she needs to, and she knows the best way for them to.
And that's important. That's very important. I mean, that's something. It's not, you can try to get that certain birth that you were expecting, and that's important to know what you want, but it's important to be open to any option, because afterwards we can get very frustrated if we didn't have the birth that we had planned during so long time. And that's important to be open to accept everything. So I really believe if we do that, we can feel much better afterwards.
I love that. And what a great metaphor for life in general. It's so important to have a vision for what we want, for what we're working toward, but being able to accept whatever happens in between, and how that vision changes or actually comes about in real life, because usually our life is not going exactly how we thought it would be.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's the same with birth. It's the same with that whole process. I think that's beautiful. And I want to talk a little bit, you mentioned that you're doing antenatal courses right now online. Amazing. That is such an amazing tool. So if you're one of our illumINNATE expecting mamas, or if you're an expecting mom just happening to listen in, doing an antenatal course and having the luxury and the privilege really of being able to do that online right now as we're all stuck in home, that's huge. Vicky, can you tell us a little bit about your antenatal course? What kind of things do you go over?
Yes, of course. Look, this is a group antenatal course, but I offer also private tailor-made antenatal classes. But the idea of the group is that we benefit of the questions and doubts of everyone who is doing the course at the same time. And the course takes 3 sessions of 1.5 hours each session. And in the first 2 sessions, we are going to go through every single stage of labor and how to cope with it. So giving a lot of practical tips about what to do, how to breathe, positions, how your partner can help you, what things should be done, what things should not be done. And I try to focus a lot in the important, crucial role of the partner. Because in Spain, there's this classical point of view that when there's an antenatal course, all the partners, they try to go. And I see some partners asking, okay, I understand this, but what do I have to do? And the midwife stares at him and says, oh, basically you have to stay there and try not to faint. Well, why are they saying this? I mean, that's not true. Firstly, if you're telling him that maybe he will faint, it's like, what's gonna happen?
Oh, no.
Like, oh my God. And secondly, if you're saying that you don't have to do anything, it's super false, because the role of your partner it's so crucial, so important, so basic to help you coping through the whole process. And my role, for example, as a doula is to encourage this duality, this support, this role. So I'm there trying to help him or helping her to be close to the lady who is giving birth, knowing what to do, knowing what to avoid, understanding the whole process, and giving you a lot of practical tips to know exactly what to do in every single moment. So this course would let them feeling comfortable and calm when everything starts. My idea is that when contraction starts, a reaction of the couple, both of them, instead of being like, oh my God, it would be like, okay, we know what's going to happen. So let's just relax. Let's just enjoy. Let's go through it step by step and let's flow with it. So that's basically what I do during the first couple of sessions. And sincerely, I have managed, I was not very sure to be able to do it online, but I've been already doing it like 2 courses. And it's amazing because thanks to using videos and different supports, we can manage to do it very active and dynamic, not being me talking, but trying to recreate this dynamic. And the truth is that I enjoy so much doing it that I really think it's very necessary. And the third session is basically to talk about the birth plan, because as you said, it's very important. So we go through a birth plan in Spanish. I also give the same version in English. It comes from a hospital, so it's not a home birth plan that I have invented or whatever. So it's a hospital who is suggesting this. And thanks to it, we go through all the different points to see what possibilities you may have. So the idea of the birth plan is that the couple, they know what options they may have, so they can discuss these options with their OB or with the midwife to see if this is important for them. They can discuss this with the doctor and see if it's possible in this hospital or not, and so being able to take decisions after that. So I really believe it's a very important tool to create a discussion, a very positive discussion, because that will let you know what's the point of view of your doctor. And if for you it's so important doing this and this, and your doctor is telling you, oh, this is not possible with me, then you know that you've got the time and you've got the possibility to change and to find someone who will respect that for you. And maybe your doctor tells you no because this and this, and your doctor will convince you, and you will say, oh, okay, then for me now it's not that important because I understand what my doctor said and I accept that. Okay, that's perfect, but you are informed and you are okay with that. So that's
so
very, very
important. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And I think that we don't know, like I said before, we don't know that there are options, or even that different doctors have different agendas or different things that they will do and won't do, and hospitals as well. I think the conception is, oh, I pick a hospital because maybe the room is nice, or it's close to my house, or another reason. But sometimes we realize too late that the birth that you thought that you were going to have isn't actually legally or physically possible in that hospital or with that doctor. And so it's so important to interview, to check out these places and to understand the system and the country that you're in, and what is possible there. I think for expats, it's a little bit scary because we know the hospital system, or maybe we know the birthing situation in our own countries, but like so many of us, we moved to Barcelona, we don't know how the function is. And
so that's what I tried to do, to explain you what are your options here in different places. And then it's very personal. You have to think about it, discuss it with your partner, and decide and take your decisions, and then discuss those points with your doctor or your midwife. And that's, I think it's nice to get that information, because that will give you will know what to talk about. Because if you say, oh, I've got an appointment, but what am I going to ask?
Yeah,
I don't know what
exactly.
what I'm going to say. Yeah, of course. So that's basically what I try to give you the information, so you've got this basis to talk about.
That's amazing. Amazing. Oh, thank you so much, Vicky, for sharing with us today. It's been so wonderful talking about all of these wonderful topics that I'm so passionate about, that I'm sure my patients and my family and my husband is like, can you stop talking about pregnancy and birth with me? So it's been so nice to share this time with you and talk with another birth provider that is equally as passionate. Is there anything that you wanted to say, or anything that we didn't talk about that you want to cover before we close out?
No, everything's fine.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for counting with me for this.
Absolutely. It's been so
interview.
Wonderful having you. So if you are
I feel very honored. Thank you.
If you're listening and you're an expecting mom, or maybe you're expecting to expect one day, that's a whole nother podcast, is preconception and in the importance of conscious conception. So if birth and pregnancy is something that you're either going through now or you're seeing for your future, feel free to reach out either to myself or to Vicky. Especially if you're pregnant right now, please reach out to Vicky. She is available to help you. Sign up for her antenatal course. That's going to be such a tremendous resource for you to just learn more about what's going on, to get your partner involved. And even if maybe you recently had a birth, or you're a new mom and you're trying to cope with this new role that you have, this new baby, maybe you're breastfeeding. I know Vicky also really delves into the importance of breastfeeding and helping you with that. If you're having any issues in that area too, just reach out. You guys have met her. She's such a sweet woman and really just an amazing resource. We'll include, Vicky, your contact information and maybe your website in the comments below the video so people can get in touch with you and get in contact with you, sign up for your courses. So thank you again.
Thank you very much, Kelli,
for being here. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for joining us on the illumINNATE Barcelona podcast, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.